Hello and welcome to the Organic Molecule Naming Series. This is going to be about nitrogen-containing compounds. All of these ones I'm going to mention here today. Technically, in the main syllabus, I don't believe we actually have to know how to name them, but you do have to recognize the functional group. But for certain things that you could potentially do, including some of the options, you might have to name these things. And so I think for completeness, I'll just describe some of the basic naming about them. So I'm going to just go through them, and then we'll look at a couple of additional examples. So the first one I want to bring up is amine. So we've got one thing to remember about nitrogen is nitrogen typically forms 3 bonds. It has one lone pair. So notice it has one fewer. It has a nitrogen and 2 hydrogens and a bond. And then to get its octet, it has a lone pair there. So you can name this in a couple of different ways, either as a prefix or as a suffix. If it's a prefix, it's going to be amino. And if it's a suffix, it's going to be amine. Either way, as usual, we say where it's located, and we give it the lowest possible number. So this one, 5 carbons in a row, that's a pentane. There's a amine group on the second carbon in. If we count in this direction, give it the lowest number. There's 2 amino pentane or pentan 2 amine. Now, there's a little bit more complicated things that can happen if there's like more carbons attached to this, but we're not going to do that. More carbons attached to the nitrogen amine. We're not going to do that. Nitrile is another one. That's a carbon triple bonded to an oxygen. That's always going to be at the end of the chain, kind of by definition. And basically there, you just say the full name. Notice we're not dropping the E or anything of the carbon chain. We add nitrile on the end. So the 4 carbon long chain there with this double bonded thing is going to be butane nitrile. Lastly, an amide. This is where we have a carbonyl next to an amine. And again, kind of like, well, somewhat similar to the last one, it doesn't need a number. The kind that we're going to do, it's always going to be end of chain. There would be a possibility that there'd be more carbons and stuff like that coming off of here, but we're not going to get into that. So the class is amide, and then the functional group name is carboxyamide. So, and the name is anamide. So that's another one of these where the class and functional group are different. Again, recognition is what we're looking for here mainly, but just kind of want to briefly give an overview on the naming in case it comes up. So a couple of more examples here. We have this guy right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, we haven't done a 7 in a while. And then we're going to give the amine group the lowest possible number, which is 2. And so this generated it with a suffix name, so heptan 2 amine or 2 aminoheptane would be another way of saying it. Hept for 7. Here we have 2 amines, so it's going to require the di, and then especially if there's 2 of them, that's where I think you kind of have to use the suffix prefix. Or I guess you could still go either way, but it's calling it pentan 2,3-diamine. So again, we say di because there's 2 of them. And we'll give them the lowest possible number, so carbons 2 and carbon 3. Here we have a nitrile, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's pentane. So with the nitriles, you just sort of tack the nitrile on the end. Pentane nitrile. And then here we have an amide. And so we count up the carbons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, including the one in the carbonyl. In this case, you do drop the E, pentanamide. So that's the basics. Again, just focus on knowing what these look like. Some naming might pop up, but that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.